here. We're live. Let's see. Yeah. It won't let me do that orientation. Try going portrait, and it's saying no. And I do have it in rotation here. Let me try that. Nope, it's telling me no. All right, welcome back and or to the channel, Trucker Ride and the S.E.E. And Sunday night here, and I am in Inwood, West Virginia at the Rudders again. So, anyhow, get comfortable here. If you could, before we get started, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. As I said, help the channel grow. Uh, we are, hopefully coming up with more new things to talk about. I know we have touched bases on many things, as such as last week, but what was that? No tax on overtime. A few of the regulations and laws out here that come about. We try to make sure we touch on that. So, like I said, I wish this camera will not let me go into horizontal on a live. Just tried it, won't do it. So, anywho, and also we have another channel. It's down in the description, RK Auto Detailing. What I'm, gonna do for the first channel and whoever that subscriber is to get us to 1,000 subscribers. That 1,000 subscribers is going to get a care package from Jack's Wax. So I'm going to get that sent out to you once we get to that milestone. So appreciate that. To start out, recap last week. Route went well. Still a hot week. Hot enough that I went up into McDowell County from Bluefield there in West Virginia, and the tires got hot up in the 170s. I do have the screen on here where I can monitor tire pressure and tire temperature. So the truck was pulling, I was still pretty well loaded or half loaded, but it was all an incline for basically about 50 minutes. So truck, basically, I got to put it in manual mode and just manually shift it with this automatic all the way up there with the twist, winding turns, and all that. So once I got up there, let everything cool down, but I noticed the engine was making some noise coming back down, and the following day I really noticed it more, and come to find out, blew the exhaust manifold gasket on number 6 cylinder, and it's if I don't use the jakes and let off the throttle just to decelerate, really whistles good. So it is scheduled in. So I called the day or after I got unloaded and was heading up. So I called in and scheduled to get this in this when I get in from this route this week, and they've already got a rental getting ready to. So I'll have a rental there to fall back on. But that and the week before that, the tire pressure monitor came on and ended up getting a nail in the tire. And the tire was within 3 hours, I dropped like close to 20 plus pounds of pressure. It was going on 30 pounds of pressure. Dropped a lot of that. I was watching it on the screen. So when I got to Ryder to get fuel, they came out and looked. In the pouring rain, he used a soapy bottle, sprayed it, and found it. So they were able to take the tire off the rim, pull it was like a finishing nail, pull it out, and put a plug and a patch in there since I've got new tires on here, and I didn't want to mix new tires with a recap. So their option was to patch that one. I said, good, because they're all right now they're all wearing and matching perfectly. So other than that, we will see what I get for a rental. And they're saying I'm not holding my breath because when it comes to Ryder truck rental, I got 99% of the time I'm disappointed. So I am just going to see what I see and what I get for rental. If it's a nice truck, uh, we'll do a review on it, do a walk around because I know what it may be, but I could be wrong. We'll wait. So another 5 days out. And then next week we'll do that. Uh, so for a lot of folks that are on here, they're truck drivers from different parts of the world, from the country of, from here in America. And my question to you is, what are you guys seeing out here? Like I started driving in '88. Vehicles, most people drove with the windows down because air conditioning was an option, not a standard luxury. Um, there were no cup holders in the cars whatsoever. And you just had, your pop bottle, whatever, between your legs, or you bought some clip on the dash or cigarette ashtray type holder, but it was so flimsy most of the time because everything was glass bottles back then, predominantly glass bottles. So, I mean, it was nothing. I used to go get what was common was 8-pack of Mountain Dew in glass bottles, which were like the 16.9 or the 20 ounce. Put that on the doghouse when I was running cab over, and that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a 16-hour day. So, but the driving with that, you just had AM, FM radio, cassette deck, CDs had come in. CDs were the new rave, and but basically there was no infotainment, no cell phones, no none of that. So driving seemed to be people were on their game, paying attention, going down the road. Um, if there's a traffic backup, obviously everyone didn't come to a stop, get on their phone, and start Google mapping. What's a workaround. CBs like this were predominant. You talk to drivers usually if it was going southbound and there was a backup. Northbound was chiming in on the radio to let you know you're dealing with an accident, construction zone backup, whatever it may be. So there wasn't that distractive driving. It was, what I want to say, um, people were paying attention. I forgot to, I didn't see if Miss Laura was going to chime in here or not tonight. So let me see if she's even there. I just remembered that. So there was going to be another guest in here, but that may not be the case. So she'll just have to, trying to think. No, 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 no. Chat. Okay. So people paid attention more to driving. It was funny because pickup trucks were more, again, predominantly standard cab. Stick shift it was cheaper to get a stick shift truck. Most people went that route, half ton. So what I'm saying is they drove, they paid attention. There wasn't much other than if you had a car and the kids in the back seat acting up, and traffic flowed good. Um, but we did have, I want to say there was still a lot of DUI, drunk driving going on then too. But for the most part, now as I look over 5 decades, the 80s, 90s, 2000, 20 teens, and now the 2020s, it's just gone from, you know, decent to absolutely horrible out here. Um, this last week, even today, coming through Maryland, coming down on a Breezewood off I-76 on the 70 to come down to Hagerstown, and people were getting so impatient because of the construction on I-70 going east that they were, I had one gentleman pass me on the right on the shoulder, and that happened last week too. Which, when you're watching ahead and off to your side of the traffic that's zooming up into the slowdown of the construction, and then all of a sudden this dude's flying by and startles you, but you're like, you're just shaking your head. And the best I can do is just hold my lane, keep a safe distance. I put my flashers on when I can see everyone is coming to a stop. I'm putting my flashers on to give someone behind me a warning. That way, they can say, "Oh, there's a slow moving truck or something," but it's something flashing at them to give them a heads up so they don't ass pack me. Um, but yeah, it's to watch people drive around the cones or barrels in a construction zone just to get ahead in the line. Watching that, I mean, I've watched things that were just like, you know, where do you draw the line when, say, the construction workers are there Monday and they're in that zone, and these people are that impatient that they're cutting into the zone to get around the barrels to leapfrog maybe 3 spots, and it has just became a a lawless driving situation out here where now you got to have the dash cam. My dash cam now for the last month, it does event recordings. When I hit a bump, go over railroad tracks, hit a hard pothole. I mean, it doesn't take much to set it off, but the dash cam is constantly recording the whole time I started this morning. Once that's powered up and going, it is recording live all the time. And it will, when it's recording today, it'll hold 30 days of 24 hours. But once it gets to that 31st day, it deletes it. So, so that way you can just evolve into the next ones. I do that, and we were talking about this in the safety meeting this past week. And I said, I'm keeping it on not only for the idiocracy of people driving out here, but the fact that these foreign drivers don't know what the F they're doing out here. And my concern is protecting me when these idiots pull out, but don't know how to pull out far enough before they turn and drive over the hood of my truck. So, or if someone is backing in and backs into my truck. So therefore, I've got live recording going on. That thing's running all the time till I get back in the dock, turn the truck off, and take the garment out. Then it's off. But yeah, it's one of those. You got to protect yourself out here, and you got to look at things and say, in litigation, where would this go? And you really, it wasn't like that back then, but every billboard out there anymore, 99% of them are all, personal injury lawyers. Call us if you get hit by a big truck. Call us if you're hurt by a big truck. Motorcyclist, if you're hurt by a big truck. I like to see one out there where someone's saying, big trucks, if you've been the victim of some idiot that's texting and driving, and they are, get a lifted truck, get a pickup truck that sits up high and look down at these cars. I see it in my Ram when I go home. I see it in this. It's just people, they have to be on that phone while they're driving. I have to be on there. I have to be communicating. It's like, good God, when I get home, when I'm down at my other property at the camper, I throw my phone up in the cupboard. Dude, if you got to get a hold of me, get a hold of my wife, because you will not get a hold of me. I don't answer my phone on the weekends. I don't want it on me, near me, anything. It's put away. I don't care. It's one thing I can always say to people is technology is a good tool to use, but please keep it at arm's length, because if you're so codependent on it, it's like you've dumbed yourself down. You became a bitch to being codependent. And, you step out in the world without any electronic devices, you're about deaf, dumb, and blind trying to walk around. That's the way people are. They're like walking zombies. without their phones. And when they have their phones, I've literally watched a person walk down the sidewalk in front of my house and walk right into the back of my wife's car because teenage girl was looking right at her phone the whole time. She hit the car. She's looking around. I looked at her and I started laughing at her. She felt so embarrassed, ran across to the other side of the street and kind of trotted home from there. Just, in the sense that, in the essence that, she got humiliated. And, you deserve it. But that electronic stuff is very distracting and then, of course, you got all the cars with um, piloting options like your Teslas and that, where they're sitting back and their hands crossed, while the car is driving. I'm like, hey, go at it, coaches. But I'll tell you what, if you get in an accident and you're dismembered, you're crippled, this is where I'm not having any sympathy anymore for people. If you're going to be on the electronic devices, if you're going to let technology drive your car and you're going to sit back and you get into a bogus or gross negligence accident, uh, sympathy train's not here at this door. And but yeah, that's what I see more and more of. Back then, it was just, man, you'd always get the occasional person that would be going fast, going by, and that, but it wasn't this, I want to say, impatience of having to drive through drive in the right shoulder, drive through the median to get in front of three more cars in a backup or something. It's ridiculous what you see out there. And yeah, I really miss the CVs as far as having that kind of communication, because really, when you're in that situation, you can't communicate with anybody else. There was me and one other guy that was communicating, and in that backup, because we were sitting there for probably 20 minutes, but we got through it. Wasn't that big of a deal. But for anybody that's got to slow down under the speed limit, then all of a sudden, ooh, what's going on? Why do I got to go slow? Shit, we're driving 70, 75 miles an hour in most states on the interstates. I remember when I started driving truck, speed limit for cars and trucks was 55. And they were popping your ass for doing 60. If you're a 5 over, and I ran a radar detector, and if that thing even started chirping, I said, someone's in the area, and they could either be sitting over the hill, waiting for you to crown the hill and come down, or they're sitting on an overpass. But it was just things you always had to keep observing. But yeah, we ran radar detectors back then, and you had to, because 55 just drive you nuts all day on a 16-hour day up and down the highway. But if you get by, if you're doing 60, man, I'm making good time. Now it's like doing 70, 75 is like, this truck is governed at 69. And I still got people laughing at me. Even once in a while, I get a Prime or a Walmart get by me, but I don't know how that is. Who do we got in here? Sniper, Goofy, new here. Hey, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you being here. And thank you so much for commenting in. So I don't, like I said, if you're truck drivers that have been in the industry for a spell, a decade, two, back in the day before all the cars went stupid crazy with the IT, what's your, I always try to ask other drivers, older drivers, how do you feel about it out here? Common sense is gone and they're idiots. Technology has made people dumbed down to where you can't even, these people don't even, they're so ingrained in their phones and that they go into truck stops, just the regular people that pull in their cars. They're so introverted anymore that they don't even know how to converse with people making a transaction of buying a pop or a candy bar. And they're just like, oh, oh, I got to look up and converse with this person. Oh my gosh. And they just want to skedaddle right out of the store because they're like, oh, they infringed on my bubble because they conversed with me. And that's the way it is. That's the way society has became. Um, other than, you're paid actors to protest out here, stand in the street or stand and, take a chance of getting ran over. But yeah, that's the way these people have become because of the technology. I'm very extroverted. Uh, gift for gab is what one person told me. Um, do I like being around a lot of people, going to big events? I did when I was younger. As I've gotten older, I've realized the mentality of society to where I don't want to be into the large crowds anymore. I mean, I can go to a restaurant, I can go shopping, but overall, I stay in my lane, do my thing. I go in, and it drives my wife nuts that I go and get what I want, and I get out. Um, I don't want to cruise up and down the aisles. I want to get in there and get out. Big, when you go into the big box stores, it's like going with a plan, going with a list, and get out of there. You see, especially grocery shopping. Um, you watch these people just catching up on things. Like, even, that's been going on ever since grocery stores have come about. That people will sit there and just stop in the middle of the aisle and chit chat. So that's not for me. But I would say we have probably quadrupled the amount of cars or vehicles on the road now than we did in 1988, 1989, when I had my first full year in. To say that, with less cars, uh, you didn't have so much congestion from, you know, being on the open road, but being in the inner city or local driving, to where you've got lineups from stop sign or stoplight to stoplight. Um, where it's just nowadays it's like these kids. Well, I I'm entitled to a car when I turn 16, and my parents said there's a rusted out Datsun, and that's what I drove. And Pasco Truck Lines, man, he come railing in backwards on this, and this, jeez, yeah, when you're driving truck, like for me, when you're coming in a parking lot in a residential area, when you got to cut through some residential to get to a shipper or receiver or into this truck stop, any truck stop, come in as a smooth operator, look more professional. To come in looking like Bozo the Doofus, you know, 40 miles an hour, trucks leaning to one side as you're trying to, corner around, and, then trying to get a parking spot, and then everyone's all up in arms. That's what I'm saying is that's the irritating stuff on my end too with truckers is they just have no more patience. Us old guys, I set my crews to the limit. Paid, I'm paid by the hour, so why do I need to speed? And I used to when my routes were really tight in my clock, but anymore I just said I'm not doing it. I haven't gotten a ticket. I'm not going to. So I take, even when I'm up in the mountains, speed limit says 55, but the back of that trailer is coming around the mountain and I'm going in a straightaway. It's like, there's no way you can do 55 up some of these mountain roads with this truck and trailer. So usually it's 40, 45, but being patient, being a smooth operator, but the road rage, I've seen road rage. I've not recorded. If I was to ever witness it now that this is running the Garmin full time, I would post it probably in a short or long form just to see. But I've seen people do this. When one cuts the other one off, then the person that got cut off, then they're racing up. Um, and they're getting in the same lane, trying to tap doors and stuff like that. I have seen that, but it's going down the road so fast, they just keep going away from me as I'm driving. I'm like, I don't want to be part of that in case one of those idiots lock up and wipe out. I don't want that shrapnel hitting me, so I keep my distance. But like I said, just being a smooth operator and doing what I need to do to get done, be unscathed for my body and for my truck, so I can get back home and be refresh for another week. But it has gotten to be a battleground out here with the driving aspect. Some solutions. Um, Training needs to be they were saying what the federal mandate of like 50 hours, like 50 hours for a 16-year-old kid. Most of these kids, for driver's training. I'm like, you know, if you're in high school, which I took driver's training in high school, and I think it was a whole semester of it, and it was like an hour or so long, but you went, I want to say twice a week, but you took a whole semester of driver's training leading into your 16th birthday. For me, it's like they need 12 months of training flat out, or give it as part of their curriculum in school and saying, you know what, you're going to take, say, your sophomore or your junior year of school, whenever you're going to turn 16. Hey, you're taking 2 semesters of driver's training. Give them some basics, from book knowledge to simulators to getting them out in the car. Let them drive the snow, the good weather, the rain. And if they can't handle it, hey, you don't get your license. Sign off as you're not competent anymore in these trucking schools. 1 or 2 weeks of driving. I say, a good 8 to 12 weeks. Probably a good 12 weeks to me. This is a lot more, but as long as you're a proficient regular driver, but I still say 12 weeks. But they get these people in here from other countries. It is. I laugh. I won't help them. I won't talk to them. And call me whatever you want on that. But I am, you know what? I'll help a fellow trucking brother, fellow man on stuff. But when it comes to those idiots that have come in here and gotten their stuff illegally by working through loopholes, I'm like, not going to help you. Not whatsoever. So anyhow, just turn that down. I can see a little bright. So, um, any questions on driving out there as far as what you guys see, whether you're in your car or you're a truck driver? Um, what do you think are some solutions? I think it just needs to be mandated that kids turning 16 need to have at least 2 semesters or a full year of driver's training, because they've never driven before. They really need to have more behind the wheel time before they're sent off and written off to get their license. Trucking, minimum 12 weeks, minimum. But that's my take. I've got a good friend, Bob. He's was a driver for 10 years, and then he went back to the school he got a CDL at, and he is a driver trainer there. I'd like to know what his take is. I should bring him on sometime and see. He follows the channel, so I will try to reach out to him and get his perspective. Maybe get him live uh, um, collaboration on here. So anyhow, been at this for about 30 minutes. I appreciate being here, new here, and being here for the first time. So thank you. Appreciate it. Give you another shout out. Sniper Boofy Goofy. So thanks for being here, and for just checking out our channel. Uh, I don't have much to say as far as not a lot of excitement. I'm trying to. I'm busy as all get up when I get home, and I'd like to live stream at home and just talk about some things there, because usually my wife kind of helps put some stuff in my ear to talk about. But this, out here on the road, I'm pretty busy. So by like today, this is my travel day. I left. I got done early, but like tomorrow and the days after, then it gets to be 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'm shutting down, and I'm just like, I want to eat. I want to decompress a little bit, and it's just hard to flip the camera on yourself and carry on. And I may get 10, 11 hours of downtime before I got to be right back at it. Unloading heavy product by hand. And by the end of the week, I get home. I've been gone for 4 or 5 days. Then I got to jump in the house, figure out what errands I need to run, stuff that has to be done, chores, like everyday chores that, people take for granted. You can come home if you're doing your 9 to 5 job, you come home in the evenings and mow your grass one day, get this done the next day, that done the next day. And by the end of the week, you're ready for the weekend where I'm getting home Thursday, Friday. I'm like, oh shit, I got to get all this done before I can go out and have me time and then turn around and be back out on the road. And it is a rough life to carry like that. That's why the wife and I are working on things and to position ourselves so one day I don't have to be driving and we can continue working together. That's why I want to keep this channel pretty conservative right now because it's gonna go it's gonna go in the direction I want it to, and it's not going to be me behind the wheel, but me in the studio and me maybe out doing interviews and doing some other cool ass stuff, but also bringing in things we're doing um, with our businesses when they're up and going and what you can be doing and just looking at things overall in the markets that whether it's the banking sector, investing, um, stuff like that where you can start a business and you got to find your niche and hey, so yeah, you got to find your niche and see Pascal over here, he's just hanging out his passenger window, um give me the peace sign saying hey brother. So anyhow, that was cool. Anyhow folks, yeah, so channel's got bigger and better things going on. Like I said, I fell back into driving to supplement my income, and it's been a good ride. But the wife and I know as I'm going to be turning 60 next year that we need to be looking at what can I do going forward to continue making money. But I don't want to be that the crypt keeper hanging on the steering wheel, looking like a skeleton out here, like dying. There's so many old guys I've seen get out of the trucks that are just hobbling along. They never plan life out very well, and they got to drive until they die because if they stop driving, they got no money saved up, no money to fall back on, and no life. So that's the thing is you always got to know when to pivot in your career. You're, Nowadays, you're not going to stay with the same thing forever. At some point, you got to know when you need to pivot and go into the next chapter of your life career wise. And that's where we're at right now. Um, is it going to be this year? No. Next year, it'd be a different conversation. But right now, we're just working our butts off. The wife is, I've asked her to step in and take control of one of the businesses, learn it, and then we can work together and I'll help her. But I want her to at least take the realm of one of the businesses because I said I can't keep them all up and going. It's a lot of drain on me, and it's not giving me and her much freedom uh, at home for the time being, which we understand this is the position we put ourselves in. But yeah, so when that day comes, then we will disclose more stuff once the pivot has happened. But yeah, and it won't be anything to do with trucking. It will not be trucking. When I walk away from this truck, from this company, there won't be any more trucking. It's been a good run, but it's nothing I want to retire doing or grow old doing. So, but yeah. So anyhow, I've seen some crazy stuff in the aspect, but driving is horrible. I think that's probably the most stressful as far as delivering and getting to my customers. Not at all, but it's when I step foot out on the roadways, it is the total shit show out there in the way people drive. Old middle age and young, they become so aggressive because they're all about it's me, me, me. Get out of the way. It's all about me. This entitlement, and it just ranges from my age right on down. And these people are in some ass hat hurry. I gotta talk. I gotta get home to the kids tonight. You know what? I'm a latchkey kid. My mom owned businesses. Stepdad worked at GM. You know, my mom married a couple times, and they were all in General Motors. So to say that there was swing shift, third shift. Hey, come home from school, make your own damn sandwich. There's a chore list there. You got chores to do. You know, you got to pull it together. There's not this um, babysitter waiting there for you, especially when you're like 12, 11, 12, 13 years old. It is then time for you to, step up. And yeah, like I said, I was mowing the grass and doing yard work by 8 years old. Um, Cleaning the pool, flushing the filter out on an in-ground pool. I mean, I was doing all that by 10 years old, 8, 10 years old. You know, um, there's been a lot of things, growing up. And nowadays, these kids are so sheltered. Well, we don't want to expose them to this. We feel it's ruining their psyche. And what's ruining their psyche is you coddling and sheltering them. So when real world problems hit, these kids will never know how to find a solution to real world problems because they've been coddled and sheltered so much. And my kids, I'll tell you, I was an asshole and I was an SOB to live with. But looking back, they can definitely say, but he prepped us with real world skill sets and mindset to handle things when it's presented on the plate. They're not having, 20, 25, 30, 40-year-old, kids going to their parents, what do I do now? You know, um, they know what they need to do. Uh, they may ask for my opinion, but they never ask me to bail them out. So, and I think that's why, you see the mindset of driving out here. It's definitely flipped the script from, oh, geez, where are we at? 35, 37 years ago when I started driving. And I'm pretty proud of my driving. Like I said, just I've learned from the guys that were my mentors, and I understand why they were always considered the smooth operators because they didn't jeopardize uh, themselves, the equipment. They always looked professional going in and coming out of a job site, and then I was just the young, wild-eye rookie coming in and cowboying in and cowboying out. So think I would have learned my lesson up. I don't think I really turned the page on that until I was turning 40. So, anywho, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Uh, Appreciate all the new subscribers. Like I said, there's going to be more to come. And if you want to talk about, discuss, or have something going on with the channel, make the suggestion not only in this chat, but leave a comment after the live is over. And bring some stuff up that you'd like to see me touch base on. We try to bring you up on the latest stuff. I think we talked about you know in the past about the ELP, the English language proficiency, with the Arkansas and the Oklahoma, and all that stuff. The big thing is if you're going to get involved with trucking, if I was to join something, what is that? The American Truckers United, the ATU. I would look at them or the OOIDA, Owner Operators Independent Association. I would look at one of those two. If you're going to throw money at a membership, I would at least go to one of those two. Support them, get behind them, and help be a catalyst for a voice for the trucking industry out here so we can get more recognition and stuff that gets swept under the rug with these accidents from the foreigners being here driving, that we can be proactive to help push their voice out further and make, they get changes made on a legislative aspect. So it starts with one person and it just catalysts from there. So that's what we need to be doing out here. And, if you want the roads safe, if you're not a truck driver, then hey, you still want the roads safe, not only for you and your family when you're going somewhere on vacation or what have you, or if your children are out driving, you know, with a new license. You want to know the roadways are safe. This is how you get behind it. I would not ever throw money or support the ATA. Uh, they're only out for themselves because they are backed, and the board of them is all but mega carriers, big corporations. So their push is to what leverages them to have things go in their direction so they can make more money. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to be safe. We're here as drivers, company or owner operators to make money and to keep the roadways safe. So we have many hats we have to wear throughout the day. Um, from shippers to receivers to driving to interacting with the public, the DOT officers. It's, plus health and drug screenings, random to, medical, physical conditions. So you stay physically fit. So you have to have that your medical card every 2 years done. So it's a lot on our plate, and it's not easy. It's not easy if you do it right. If you're going to break the law and do what a lot of these shady companies do, sooner or later there's going to be a fatality, whether it's someone they did to someone or to themselves, and that could jeopardize a lot of things. So it depends on how you want to walk through life um, with a clear conscience or not. So until next time, folks, stay safe. Continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught. And leave a comment down below. We'll try to get in here later this week. Hopefully, the week will go well. And maybe we'll talk about something new. Till next time.